So coming from the Times of Israel, major Israeli tech firms commence sweeping layoffs as AI revolution roils industry. So I think this is an interesting story, and to be clear, it's from the Times of Israel. I don't think this is an anti-Semitic rag. I do not believe they're owned by the same company that owns the Daily Stormer, but I could be wrong. So anyways, I was doing a little bit of research on the Wix layoff. So Wix, if you don't know, is an Israeli company. They are now laying off 20% of their workforce, which is about 1,000 people. And one of the big reasons that they're laying folks off is basically just because of the exchange rate, right? The value of the US dollar has fallen so much in the past year that the shekel has basically gained 30% in value. So it's really interesting with Wix, right? There's an Israeli company, so there's an Israeli company paying their employees in shekels, but basically they sell their product to the world and really to the United States, and they get the revenue in US dollars, and basically the money that they get in over the past year has decreased in value by 30%. So all of a sudden, you know, all of their expense projections and all of that kind of stuff just doesn't make any sense anymore. And basically I was doing a little bit of research on that, and come to find out, it does seem like a number of Israeli tech companies are kind of having problems in the modern macroeconomic world. And it will be interesting to follow this particular story as we go into the future. And we look at basically how a country's economy basically affects their things like their war efforts, and then how that then affects the country, right? Because Israel has basically been at war continuously since October 7th, right? Flattening Gaza, bombing the crap out of Lebanon, bombing the crap out of Syria, sank Syria's navy after the civil war ended over there, bombing the crap out of Iran. And there's a lot of fundamental questions about Israel right now where they are winning the wars that they're getting into to a degree, but there is some actual interesting questions about how much they're fracturing the fundamental foundations of their society. It was interesting. I was reading a article yesterday, and it was talking about just the continuous call up of reservist forces in order to fight these wars. And you got to think about it, like the military age people are basically the prime middle class employees. So, you know, your coders and your factory workers, and basically the people that build your society. Imagine if relatively continuously you're pulling those people out of their jobs to dump them into war zones. And then they have to come back and go back into their jobs, and then maybe have to get pulled and go back to a war zone or go back to military service again. And it was interesting reading this article where they're just talking about, just from a civilizational, societal level, the problems that this is causing, you know, year after year of these wars. I think about this right now with the United States, right? The United States has failed. Look, I'm a patriotic American. My friends, I am a patriotic American, but it's been a long time since I wore that thing. Fact of the matter is, our country is failing right now. And there's a lot of interesting questions about our debt load and how that affects our military, right? Here in the United States, we got $39 trillion in debt. Apparently, we're paying $1 trillion in interest alone this year. A lot of our loans, basically that debt, is going to be refinanced at a higher interest rate. And so basically, we're paying more on interest than we're paying on basically anything else in our federal government. And there's a real question, like what happens when your interest rates or your interest costs so much you can't afford a Tomahawk missiles? What happens when the interest costs so much you can't afford, you know, Navy ships or tanks or any of that? I was watching, I watched some of these military commentators. There's the goofball, you know, the goofball. He's got the hair, he's got the mustache. He's talking into a M16 magazine half the time. Anyways, there's this whole thing going on right now where the U.S. Army ran out of money. Oh, I can't make this shit up. Anyways, apparently, like the U.S. Army, for many of the things, right? There's a funding cycle, and so we're spending $29 billion in Iran war, and there's other things going on. So literally, like sending our troops to sniper schools. Apparently, they were talking about that with the Ranger School. This is whack. I wish I knew his name off the top of my head. Anyways, the Ranger School. So apparently, like there's this ranger, it's like special forces, special operations. Anyways, go to ranger school. Normally when you get into ranger school, it's a very selective process. So normally within like the first week or whatever, they try to dump like a dozen or 24 soldiers out of the training program, basically to prove how tough, this is how tough you have to be. We're gonna eliminate people that don't succeed. Apparently at this point, they're eliminating like 50 or 60 soldiers per week. Because they don't have enough money to train them. Oh, isn't that so sad? Can you imagine working your ass off? You want to be a super trooper. You want to be G.I. Joe. You bust your ass to get to Ranger School. And then your ass gets cut because they can't fucking afford you. Anyway, all this is real. All this is real. So I do find this all kind of be very interesting, right? With everything going on in Israel right now, with everything going on in the Middle East. And as I've talked about before, one of my fundamental questions about Israel is just how this works out at the end of the day. Even if you win this, even if, there's a big question there, even if you win this, what is it going to look like in 10 years or 20 years or 100 years, right? And thinking about what do you need at a societal level to keep things going. And it's fascinating once you start hearing some of the numbers with their tech industry about how much money their tech industry brings into the country. And then what happens if things don't go so well with it? So anyways, major Israeli tech firms commence sweeping layoffs as AI revolutions roils industry. Wix, Rapid, and Amdocs became the latest Israeli tech firms to join a wave of layoffs to tighten operations, cut costs, and reorganize their staff amid pressure to adapt to the new automation era. Wix, a maker of do-it-yourself website building software, on Thursday confirmed reports that it was cutting as many as 1,000 employees, or about 20% of its workforce, in Israel and abroad, as the continued strength of the shekel has driven up cost. Quote, it's clear to us that in this new era, companies need to make this change in order to lead and compete or risk falling behind. Wix co-founder and CEO said in a message to the employees, we need to become a faster, leaner, and flatter organization. We are doing this as a company-wide change, a decision that will impact the entire organization, driven by how we need to operate going forward. As a first reason for the round of layoffs, the CEO cited that the shekel's fast appreciation over the past few quarters, which was driving up costs, the local currency, which has gained more than 20% over the past 12 months and reached a 33-year high against the dollar, has been hurting many Israeli firms' profits as they mainly sell globally and earn most in dollars. However, they pay workers, salaries, overhead costs, taxes, and other expenses in shekels, which have become more expensive due to the strength of the local currency. This is forcing businesses to make tough decisions with painful domestic consequences for employees and the economy. Quote, as a majority of our teams are Israel-based, a very meaningful portion of our cost is shekel-denominated, while our revenue is largely dollar-denominated, the CEO said. This creates a structural pressure on our ability to operate at our current scale. It is a reality that directly shapes what is sustainable for our company, he cautioned. Local tech exporters and manufacturers have long been warning about the increasingly damaging impact of the strong shekel on Israel's industry and economy, while urging the Bank of Israel and Finance Ministry to intervene and slow the continued appreciation. As a second reason for the job cuts, the CEO listed, quote, fast evolution of AI capabilities and the need to shift to AI-native ways of working. Similarly, the fintech unicorn Rapid said it was undergoing a major organizational restructuring to transition to a fintech platform provider and places AI at the heart of its business to grow faster and operate more efficiently. Rapid did not disclose any details regarding the scale of the planned layoffs, other than that it will rely on more focused and a professional team. Rapid employs around 700 people globally, including its Tel Aviv workforce. Quote, today we are restructuring Rapid to align with a fundamental shift in our business model. Rapid is now a company operated by AI, the Rapid CEOs announced. This is not a future goal. It is our current reality. By embedding AI as a centralized system that runs our global operations, we have fundamentally changed how work gets done. The company is growing and profitable. We are making a deliberate choice to reallocate our resources into our platform capabilities, and AI investments will drive drive our next phase of growth. Israeli-founded software and communications firm Amdocs is said to be preparing to reduce its global workforce by 10%, which is slated to affect as many as 3,000 employees, including hundreds in Israel, according to the Hebrew media reports. The move comes after the software giant's new CEO assumed the role earlier this year. In response, Amdocs said that its new leadership is currently leading a broad process to redesign the company operating model and strengthen its global leadership. As part of this process, the status and strategic importance of the company's operations in Israel are also expected to be strengthened, Amdocs said. At this stage, it is not possible to address the concrete details as some of the processes are still under review. The wave of layoffs is also sweeping through startups and smaller tech firms in Israel. Also this month, Israel-based AI startup AI21 Labs, a natural language processing startup, announced a major organizational restructuring, cutting about 60% of its staff. So yeah, I mean, this will be just, this will be interesting to follow. Here in the U.S., we got problems with our currency, we have problems with our debts, we have problems with AI, but, we don't have missiles trying to rain down on our heads. We don't have all of our neighboring countries basically wanting to bulldoze us. So it will be interesting to see how this works out with Israel going into the future. Right, following this a lot, I have noticed like a lot of the people have been complaining in the political circles over there, basically that there's so much focused on the wars and not so much focused on the rest of what needs to function as a society. I mean, that's one of the curious things to be thinking about. Can you focus so much on war that you destroy the basic systems that are required for you to be able to fight those wars and going into the future? Especially if you think about, like when I talk about these macroeconomic forces going on right now, right? This isn't just a US thing, right? The entire world is looking at being on the edge of a depression, right? We still have the Strait of Hormuz closed. Apparently in the news cycle right now, Iran has just cut off communications with the United States. Don't worry. Trump is negotiating with Tehran to such a great degree that they stopped talking to us. Not only did they stop talking to us, but apparently there's the other little strait that leads up to the Suez Canal. So they want the Houthis over in Yemen to shut that damn thing down too. And so it's a curious question. Like with modern societies, is the weakness of a modern society its modernity, right? Our ability, or society's ability to create AI weapon systems, is that proof of its weakness? I remember years ago, I had a buddy of mine, mentor of mine, working for the agencies and all that kind of stuff. And we were talking about that. Like I had hiked the Annapurna circuit in Nepal. I spent a lot of time in Nepal for a little while. And we were talking about that like it was World War III. So many, many years ago when we still thought World War III was behind, the concept was behind us. And the interesting thing is like, if you're doing subsistence farming, like you think about these poor dirt farmers with their yaks up in the Himalayas. Right? And here's the thing. They're up there right now, and they have their stone houses that have no HVAC. They're crapping in a hole out back. They're going, I mean, my God, like you see their fields, and you're just like, what is this? I'm not sure I could ride a motorcycle through this field, and you're trying to farm it for something. But the curious thing is, like, all they really need is their yak. They got their yaks, and they got their seeds, and they got their little bit of stuff. If everything goes boom, if there is World War III, you know what the dirt farmer is gonna do tomorrow? They're gonna wake up and farm dirt. They're gonna be out behind their yak, looking up at all the pretty clouds. Wow, those clouds are pretty. I wonder why everything is orange in that direction as they go about farming their dirt, right? They're subsistence farmers. They farmed dirt yesterday. like when we're going through an AI boom, they're farming dirt. When the entire world goes boom from a nuclear war, they're farming dirt. This is how it goes, right? There's a oh, there's a certain type of peace in being a dirt farmer. But the thing to think about, right? Because again, you don't need much to do that. What becomes interesting, again, with these much more advanced societies, is you need a lot. You need a lot for all this to function. You don't just need the people that are smart, but you need the ability to access resources. You need the ability to turn those resources into a product. You need financing. You know, one of the things you'll notice when I talk about money people, I'm generally not derisive about money people because I know money people. I've had beer with money. Money is at least as complicated as servers and AI. And so trying to figure out how to get small amounts of money from numerous people to put that into a pool to then manage that distribution to go into an endeavor to build something and then make sure the returns go out to the people that they need to go out to and manage all that. There's a lot that goes into money. Again, as I bring up many times, because I think this is a book. I think this is a book many people are going to need to read pretty soon. You know, Marx, capitalism, right? Anyways, there's a lot that just goes into money, right? And so what becomes interesting, right? You look at the war with Israel and all that right now, Iran, and the whole question is, who can survive going back to the Stone Age? Right, that was the whole thing. Like, Trump threatened to send Iran back to the Stone Age, and then the folks in Iran, they're like, "Hey, yeah, I got a question for you, Mr. Trump. Yeah, how much oil was being pumped during the Stone Age?" That's an interesting question. Like, that's it. You drive another civilization into the Stone Age, but by doing that, you prevent the resources that your society requires from being accessible. Who can survive longer in that particular environment? Anyways, some things to ponder, some things to think about. What do you think about major Israeli tech firms commence sweeping layoffs? Again, this is the Jerusalem Times. This isn't the Daily Stormer. What do you think about this for structurally with Israel and all that kind of stuff? Do you think there might be bigger problems? Jesus Christ. Dear Israelis, I'm not anti-Semitic. It's just not going to work out. Dear Israelis, it is not anti-Semitic to state, I don't think this is going to work out. But anyways, you all do you. Put your thoughts down below. If you like these episodes and you want them on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, there's a link in the doobly-doo. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. And with that, see y'all later.